Let me start with just a description of this webinar, what we are going to talk. And in short, a solid backup strategy is a significant part of data availability and, of course, any business success. While tape has determined a backup infrastructure a decade ago, nowadays there's a new and even better ways for ensuring your data security. Usually, small and medium business use a typical file-based backup storage, or even in some rare cases, according to my experience actually, some of the SMB clients using also a tape infrastructure, the most one. But now the public cloud storage is getting more and more affordable, object is getting more popular and available even for a small and medium business by delivering the ability to enhance, simplify, or even replace the existing file-based or even tape-based backup infrastructure. In this webinar, I'm gonna tell you how you can benefit from the public cloud, and of course you can build your own on-premises object storage. Um, sometimes actually it's called a private cloud, and how this can be delivered to your backend infrastructure using our software or our appliances. Before we talk about the object storage differences, the public clouds or private clouds, let's talk about the differences between um, the object, block, and file level access to your data. The block storage is just as simple as this. Segregates a file into blocks or of data and then stores that blocks as separated pieces on the disks. File storage keeps data as a single piece of information, let's say file or your Word document or anything else, in a folder, so you can properly hierarchy your file structures. Object storage keeps data as a set of diverse instances called objects. All objects are collected and kept within a single pool and are accessed via a unique ID of the object. The object storage, unlike let's say block and file, contains chunks of data that comprise an object, metadata of the data inside the object, and the extended metadata of the object file itself. The extended metadata is the highest and the biggest benefit of the object storage, since it can be defined by a user, providing simplicity and flexibility for storing and structuring large amounts of unstructured data. As you can see on your screens, just a simple comparison between the block, file, and object storage. So what we get with the blocks is the best performance. So it usually usually use some sort of protocols which have a direct block access, such as iSCSI, Fiber Channel, or SAN, SAS shared device. So by using these protocols, we will get the best performance. It's mostly used for high performance applications such as databases, SQLs, and so on, so on. Usually, talking about the block level access, it is rate protected, and because of the rate protection, we have a limited scalability, which is limited by your rate controller. The round cost for extension and the scalability for 1 gigabyte of data will vary from $10 to $100, and even more, it just depends from your particular case. File level has a medium or a high performance, just depending from the protocol which you're using, like NFS or 3, NFS 4, or SMB to SMB direct. It can deliver high performance with multi-threading. It's mostly used nowadays as the VMs storage, backup storage, and just a simple file storage. It also usually rate protected, thus we have a limited scalability. The cost here will also vary from hundreds to $1,000. And here comes the object storage. It usually delivers a medium performance, even in some cases low performance. Currently and mostly it's used on the market as the archiver tier for your data or for a media, for example. And it's protected by erasure coding, thus we can scale our cluster to infinity and beyond. So we have just depends from how many servers do you have and how many disks they have. And because of the erasure coding, actually, the cost for 1 GB of data will be very low, just because as more servers you have combined in erasure coding for object storage, less price for 1 GB of data. On today's market, there is a lot of possibilities to like create your own object storage, and we understand here at StarWind, and also myself, it's personally, we understand that everyone ready to keep data on the public clouds, which can be accessed only over internet. So for these people who consider security on the first as the priority one, actually, we have and actually not that we have, but our partners and the market itself have something to you. First of all, we have an open source based and access. You can actually just create it for free. It's Ceph, called a Ceph cluster, and you just simply add servers to Ceph. And actually, the configuration not so hard. Maybe in 2-3 hours, you can create your own object storage with erasure coding, and so on. We also have an enterprise level solution such as Cloudion and ActiveScale from Western Digital. All of this can be installed as the virtual appliances, or except actually Ceph, you can order and the servers for your object storage. And let's talk about the the physical tapes a bit, because it's still one of the major storages for your backups. Less than a decade ago, public cloud storage seems to be an enterprise level solution, while the tape seems to be more affordable way to back up your data. However, the time has passed, and the prices for storing your data in the public cloud are getting significantly lower. And this turns into a trend where public cloud storage becomes more affordable comparing to physical tapes in the long run. So on your screens, you can see the table which I have prepared for you today. On the left side, we have a tape infrastructure and the cost for this. On the right side, we have a Microsoft Azure blob storage as a comparison. So first of all, I just took a price for one of the HP tape libraries with full load of them of LTO8 tapes with 1 year of the tape replacement, because we need to write, let's say, a petabyte of data on it and then rewrite it again for the next year. labor time for administrators these tapes because it's actually hard to administrate it properly. Cost for maintenance and support for the tapes itself, the tape infrastructure, not only tapes, cleaning tapes or something like this, but also supporting the tape library itself. Talking about tape, it usually means that you have some sort of offsite facility or you order it the services from one of the companies who delivers your tapes to protected and secured location. So I just calculated it like 100 miles round trip from your office to this location, and of course the service this company never provides a service for free. So the approximate cost of the storing these tapes on the offsite facility will cost around $4,000 per year. On the right side, we have in Microsoft Azure, and the archive tier for 5 years will cost around $65,000 in case if we are going to rewrite the data each year. Also, if you have some sort of internal backup rules that all of the data needs to be retrieved from the offsite facility, in our case it's Azure Blob Storage, it will cost more 10,000 more per year just to retrieve all of the data. Also, just as you can see, specify the 100,000 writes and reads operations per month and per year. The total of 5 years, you can see just the difference. If we are using a tape infrastructure, it will cost around 145,000 for a 5-year administration and maintaining this infrastructure. But talking about the Microsoft Azure or any other cloud, actually, it just depends from your preferences. Without the data retrieval, it will be around $65,000. With the data retrieval, it's still less, $116,000. And I would like to mention that the tape infrastructure is very hard to scale in the future. If your growth very fast, you need to add an additional tape library, more tapes, buying more tapes, while the Microsoft Azure has unlimited scalability, and you are just ordering an additional storage. Now we have seen the difference between the tape and the cloud. Let's take a closer look at the public cloud storage offerings. The most popular right now on the market is AWS and Azure as the for all of the enterprise grade. However, the Backblaze and Wasabi, also very popular cloud storage providers, and you can see the prices on your screens. As you can see, Backblaze and Wasabi delivers pretty much the same prices for storing any amount of, while the AWS and Azure have different prices for hot tiers and cold tiers. Maybe if you want to have an access for your data quite frequently, you can consider Backblaze and Wasabi as the best options here because you have to pay less, but you have a fast access to your data. But in case if you're talking about the true archiving, actually the AWS and Azure is more smart way because as you can see on the bottom, the cold tier for Glacier and Glacier Deep Archive will cost much lower than Wasabi and Backblaze. Same related for Azure and Cool and Archive tier for it. And here's the comms for something that can deliver and can speak with both your backup software and object storage. Because, like for example, Veeam has an S3 direct access for some of the storages, for example, AWS S3 storage. However, the license cost for it will will be expensive in some cases, but we have a turnkey solution which can fix all of your things and help you migrating your traditional infrastructure to a most uh, modern, let's say, or smart. As we have seen previously, maintaining a physical tapes infrastructure demands a lot of time, labor resources, and as a result, high expenses. Moreover, tapes are prone to physical damage, and simple dust or dirt requires them to be regularly cleaned, which increase the risk of mechanical damage. And additionally, of course, a human error may always happen, and the larger tape infrastructure you have, um, the larger risk of that happening. Speaking of the large tape infrastructure, you will need more expensive, as I said, during the scaling. Uh, and this actually can be simply avoided with the StarWind Virtual Tape Library appliance. And as I said, it's turnkey solution which combine the best technologies itself and brings a simplicity of the management of your backups, automated backup process, and also, of course, a native and direct access to the cloud. With the StarWind Virtual Tape Library appliance, you don't need to think how to scale your storage, how to scale your backup infrastructure, because by adding cloud with our appliance, you can scale it unlimitedly. Um, in general, also I would like to mention that we have a software version of the virtual tape library, which is available as the paid product and as the free product. So you can download it and test it with your um, backup software, put some data on it, on the linear tape object container, and put it. And additionally, for people who wants to move somehow from the traditional tape infrastructure, but understands how that can cost a while, and actually there is no, let's say, understandable way how to do it. In this case, the StarWind Virtual Tape Library with our partner Storage Heaven comes, and usually the tape migration from, for example, old tape to a new tape, or from old tape to a file storage, will cost around $75 per tape and involves a great deal of human effort. Moreover, when migrating the data from tape, the original labels and archive structure must be preserved to keep the backup available. With StarWind Virtual Tape Library appliance and Storage Heaven, uh, it will minimize the human efforts by delivering LTO to VTL cloning process with the price tag around $10 per tape, fully automated process. And as a result, this becomes a perfect solution for companies maintaining a big tape infrastructure and willing to scale it in the future and wants to migrate to the cloud or even their own on-premises object storage and doesn't know how to do it. And basically, it's easy as it is. So first we insert the old tape to the tape library, then we'll selecting the destination storage, and afterwards we have a copy of data located on the StarWind Virtual Tape Library appliance, um, which can be actually easily moved to the cloud or kept on the disk storage itself. So gentlemen, let me show you the StarWind virtual tape library in action. The demo stand which I have prepared for you today consists with just a simple StarWind virtual tape library appliance with the redundant RAID array. Also, we have here installed a StarWind software. We have a Vim as the backup software for us today. We also have three different clouds. So one is the Azure, the second one is AWS, and the Cloudion as on-premises object storage. In my particular case, the Cloudion object storage is just a simple single with installed Cloudion packages on it. However, it's just for demonstration purposes. Cloudion at least recommends having at least 3 hosts for redundancy for your data. Let's start with describing the StarWind itself. We have 3 virtual tape libraries here available. As you can see, I'm already renamed it for 3 different clouds. We have multiple tapes here also. Already inserted in the online shelf, and we have a cloud replication option enabled. Talking about the cloud replication, for example, let's take a look at AWS configuration. We are selecting a needed cloud, a destination cloud, specific access key, a secret key, access key for our cloud. Also, since we have already pre-configured bucket, we are specifying the bucket name and the region where this bucket is located. After a short credential checking, you will see the tape file retention settings, which actually one of the things which will fully automate your backup process with the StarWind VTL. What we have here, the first option is start replication to the cloud right after the backup process. So what happened during the backup process? Once all data written to a StarWind virtual tape library device, Vim or any other backup software needs to send an eject command to a StarWind, and this ejection will signalize the StarWind to start uploading to the cloud according to this tape retention policy. So we can either replicate immediately, never replicate it automatically, or set value in days where it needs to be replicated. Second option, it's create a new empty tape automatically when the previous one was ejected. We'll just add an additional tape library device to virtual tape to a tape library device and add it to the Vim or Commvault or Arc server, just up to your backup software. The third option will be keeping the local copy on the StarWind virtual tape library appliance. If you want have some sort of local copy available, you can never delete the copy of your backup, or you can, for example, delete it immediately if you don't need to have this copy available locally since it's already uploaded to the cloud. Or you can set in value in days for like for how many days do you want to have this tape located locally. Second option, the next option is keep copy in the cloud, or for example, you can set value in days when you want to delete it from the cloud. So for example, you have also retentions requirements in the cloud, and you want to rewrite all of the tapes for the next 7 days. So you can just specify here, and the tape will be automatically automatically removed from the cloud after the 7 days. Or by default, you can never delete it and always keep in the cloud. And also to make it more economically sufficient for you, we can add a glacier here. So we can move data from your S3 to the glacier during the day, or specify the value in days, or do not move it if you don't want to have something in a glacier. Simply applying this, and that's it. So we have a cloud connectivity configured. Just briefly show you what we have with Cloudian virtual tape library and the Cloudian as object storage. So we have here Amazon S3 compatible storage. It's not only Cloudian, Ceph, or ActiveScale. It's also related for all S3 compatible storage. For as I know, many companies already delivers this as the service, like the cloud storage. However, they're using a different S3 dialects, while the StarWind virtual tape library only using a native AWS libraries. So if the storage which you are choosing is native AWS, using the same language as AWS, so you can simply configure StarWind with it. Specifying pretty much the same access key ID, secret, the bucket name which I already pre-created. For people who use the different cloud providers, we have signature version choosing here, and the service URL, which is our local server. In the retention process, we do have the same except the glacier, because we don't have a glacier for Cloudian. And that's pretty much it from the StarWind side. On the Vim side, and yeah, of course, I want to show you how it is connected, since the Vim and the VTL software itself installed on the same server. We are just discovering ourselves using a loopback connectivity and connecting it via iSCSI. In the device manager, we can see all of the tapes appears here available. Same for media chargers. Like we have 3 virtual tape library devices. Here's the 3 libraries here appears. Once all connected, configured, we're opening a Vim. We're adding a tape server, which is already added. We have already connected libraries here with some media pools already pre-configured, and we have already some of the tapes available as unrecognized, so we can simply move it or manually, or we can configure Vim to move it to free pool automatically, and then use the free pool to move it from the free to a needed media pool on demand. And I have an AWS tape job already completed as the test job before the webinar. So I'm gonna create a clone of this job, actually 2 of them. Okay, and edit it. So I will create Azure tape job. In the file and folders, I will choose the same file to be backup. which we need to back up. But here we need to specify a different media pool in full and incremental backups. Also, you can here configure an automatic full and incremental backups. Very major thing here is that we need to check both these options: eject media upon job completion, which actually gives a StarWind a command that this tape now can be replicated to the cloud, and export current media set to properly restore this tape from the clouds and restore your data. So it just contains a proper information about the backup inside. And same I'm doing with the Cloudion. Same file. Here we're specifying a different virtual tape library. Same options and finish. So now I can activate all tape jobs simultaneously and see how it works with the StarWind. That's all. Now Vim gathering all needed data, like building the backup tree. And as you can see here in StarWind Management Console, the virtual tape drives already inserted to the drive slot on each virtual tape library, which means that Vim already using it. A Cloudion, Azure, and AWS almost completed. It's just a 50 megabytes of just a simple file with the 50 megabytes on it, and it's done. Yeah. As you can see in the StarWind Management Console, the tape was ejected from online, put it on an offline shelf, started uploading to the cloud, and since I specified to remove the local copy, it's just removed the local copy of the tape, and we have this record here that we have some tape in the cloud. Same for AWS and same for Cloudion. So let's check the storage itself. So I have a storage Azure portal here available. I'm navigating to the account, choosing a specified storage account, goes to the blob services, opening container, and now we can see the tape uploaded here. Let's update a bucket in S3. It works, and let me log in inside Cloudion. Let's refresh. Okay, I see. Unfortunately, we have encountering some issues with the bucket itself. Can I get analysis, buckets? Okay, I see. StarWind already uploaded, but just UI doesn't show it to us. But the StarWind uploaded the tape to the S3 bucket successfully. So we can even delete a tape from the cloud manually if needed. And if we don't have both local and cloud copies, we can then forget this tape in the StarWind Management Console. So that's pretty much it. As you can see, you can unify, you can combine both public and private cloud if needed. You can use only private or only public clouds, and this will definitely help you to completely move all tape infrastructure with the more modern solution. If you guys have some questions, it's now the time to ask them. You can put your questions to a question box. I will be more than happy to answer all of it. Joseph Preston asked me, can the same StarWind tape be sent to Azure and Cloudon, or do I need different tapes? As you can see during the presentation, I have 3 different virtual tape libraries. A single tape library can be configured for a single cloud, for example, only for Azure, only for Cloudon, so you need to use a 2 different one. But I believe it's not a problem because it's virtualized tapes. You don't need to maintain it and somehow barcode it because everything is actually available in the StarWind Management Console. And it's just simply creating a new one, a new virtual tapes, a new virtual tape library, and use it for different cloud solutions. DJ Young asked me, when I use ETL and specify an LTO spec like 6 or 7, does that determine the storage parameters of the virtual tapes? Of course, actually, talking about the StarWind virtual tape library, we have a support right now for latest generation LTO 8 with the up to 12 to 20 terabytes per virtual tape, and the support for LTO 7, the previous generation. However, since it's virtualized tapes, it doesn't have some sort of storage properties as a real physical tapes. So the only difference between them is the capacity of each virtual tape. However, the entire performance and the deduplication and compression will always depends on the underlying storage itself. So basically, if you have pretty much powerful storage, a bunch of spindle drives configured in redundant RAID rate, for example, RAID 6, you have a good sequential writing on it. The performance of the virtual tapes will be higher than the physical tapes. Young also asked me, would it make sense to set the LTO5, for example, if we need to ensure backwards compatibility, and we could configure that beyond the physical tape size limits? Yes, we do have a library also available with LTO4 and LTO3. Unfortunately, we don't have a support for LTO5. But talking about the backward compatibility, the virtual tapes not necessarily need to use entire 12 terabytes of the storage. So for example, if you have an LTO8 tape and you have only 1 terabyte of backup, it will consume only 1 terabyte of data without the duplication, of course. So basically, the compatibility here question is quite hard because it just depends from what kind of LTO you're using. Not all LTO tapes are compatible between each other. Of course, if you're using a single vendor such as HP, they're always backward compatible. But if you are talking about the Fujitsu or Sony, also taking into account their last lawsuit between each other about the LTO8 patent wars, I'm not sure about the compatibility between the vendors, but LTO8 will definitely understand an LTO5 because it will just use the same language, the same SCSI commands for many years. Joseph Preston also asked me, is StarWind works only with Vim, or can I use other backup software? As I already mentioned, you can use any other software which can talk to the tape. So for example, the Commvault, ArcServe, Veritas Net Backup, backup exec. So it's just up to you which one to use, even the Microsoft DPM, if you like it. The only requested feature is just enabling to talk with the tapes and write the backups to it. Thank you for your time, and I wish you a great day. Bye bye.